5 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few tight ends I have as sleepers this week. The first guy is Evan Engram of the New York Giants. So right here, Evan Engram, he's been pretty bad so far in the 2 games he played this season. Not much impact for fantasy football. But this week, it's a 1-week play and sleeper option, in my opinion, versus the Dallas Cowboys, who give up the 8th most fantasy points to tight ends. So right here, Evan Engram, we know we could get open. We know we can make some plays. And the Cowboys here, their defense isn't the strongest in terms of coverage. And they also got rid of Juwan Smith this week, which was a very puzzling move, in my opinion. Obviously, it probably had to do with money because Smith could still go out there and play. And he latched on with the Packers. But right here, anyway, Evan Engram, I think he has a good game. The game is in Dallas, where he's usually pretty decent. And I think he could go for 30 or 40 yards in this one and possibly find the end zone. The next tight end I have as a sleeper this week's Juwan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints. So Juwan Johnson, we've seen some flashes out of him this season. And he also qualifies at wide receiver and tight end. So that's pretty good flexibility, obviously, in fantasy football. So one was the best week of his season so far. 3 catches, 21 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then week 2 and 3 didn't do much. And week 4 versus the Giants, he found the end zone. 2 catches for 20 yards and a touchdown. So right here, week 5, he's got a good matchups, Juwan Johnson, at the Washington football team that give up the 15th most fantasy points to tight ends. And I could see this ball game between Washington and the Saints be a mini shootout in this one, just like we saw the Falcons and Washington football team have a shootout in last week's ball game. So right here, I think Johnson will get maybe 20 or 30 yards and possibly can find the end zone once again in this ball game. And he's available in 88% of fantasy leagues. And the third and final tight end I have as a sleeper this week's AlieCox of the Indianapolis Colts. So I had Cox as a waiver wire pickup this week after he came off a good ball game in week 4 at Miami. 3 catches, 42 yards, and he found the end zone twice in that ball game. I know it was probably fluky, especially only having 3 catches and finding the end zone twice, but right here in week 5, the Colts are going to be trailing in this ball game a lot, in my opinion, where they're going to have to throw. And the Baltimore Ravens have given up the most fantasy points to tight ends this season. So right here, AlieCox, we saw him with Phillip Rivers last season, emerge as a good target. And right here, once again this year, he's back on the map after that good week 4 game. So I think he could have a decent game and be a sleeper option if you're in a pinch at tight end. So that tight ends I have as sleepers here for week 5 of the fantasy football season.